I am speaking to you now because the wind that touched your window last night carried 7 witnesses, and they stood in a circle at the edge of your dreams watching the moment you almost understood. The 7 archangels were shocked, not because the truth was hidden, but because it was already laid out like a letter on your table, and your eyes moved over it without reading the lines that mattered. I saw you pause by the door, sensing something tug at your spirit, and you told yourself it was nothing. It wasn't nothing, it was me, calling you softly while the world slept. This is why I am speaking again, urgently but gently, because time bends for no one and mercy is sweetest before the hour turns. You asked me for a sign and I gave you 7. You asked me for protection and I placed 7 flames around your name. You asked me for the truth, and I wove it into the hush between 2 heartbeats. Last night, when the night looked ordinary, the extraordinary stood beside your bed and waited for your yes. What happened last night was not thunder or spectacle, it was decision. The lines that have been tangled for months were loosened by a hand you couldn't see. A promise that seemed delayed was placed on the threshold, and the enemy who insisted he would delay you again was forced to step back. Michael raised his sword above the fear that grips you when you imagine losing what you need. Gabriel touched the part of your story that went silent after disappointment and whispered life into it. Raphael walked through the memory that still aches and poured oil on it while you slept. Uriel set a lantern at the edge of a path you keep avoiding and said, "Walk here and you will not stumble." Selathiel gathered your scattered prayers and offered them in one bright bundle that could not be refused. Jehudiel marked the work of your hands with favor for the season ahead. Barachiel draped you with quiet joy so you would not confuse anxiety with discernment. All of this happened while you told yourself there was no movement. All of this happened while you believed you were alone. All of this happened because I have not forgotten you. You have felt watched lately, not by those who intend harm, but by the eyes of the heaven you secretly hope is real enough to intervene. I tell you plainly, I have intervened. The conversation you fear is coming will bend toward grace. The document you have waited to see approved moved forward last night by a decree you couldn't witness with your eyes. The person who doubted you remembered a kindness you offered years ago and felt the weight of conviction. Their heart turned a few degrees in your favor. The door you think requires permission already has your name inscribed on the handle. You must step toward it so the door can swing, because it will not push itself open against your hesitation. I see the hesitation. I do not condemn it. I speak to it and say, "Be still." Let courage rise, not as a shout but as a steady flame, and walk. Do not mistake the quiet for absence. I often work in the quiet so that the roots of the blessing grow deep and are not torn away by sudden storms of attention. This is why last night felt ordinary, because the work was being done beneath the surface of your fear. The 7 looked at one another because they could not understand how you, so close to seeing, still held your breath and turned away. But I understand you. You learn to protect yourself from disappointment by expecting less, by dimming your own hope so it would not hurt when things did not turn out. That strategy kept you from drowning once. It is keeping you from breathing now. Let it go. This is your last chance to refuse the habit of small expectation. This is your last chance to accept the narrative that says nothing changes, nothing opens, nothing ever actually becomes beautiful for you. It is not true and it never was. Truth is not the loudest voice, it is the clearest, and it is speaking to you now. The truth is that you are not behind. You think you are late to your own life, late to opportunities, late to love, late to healing, late to purpose. You are right on time for the version of yourself that will not waste what's being given. I withheld certain things until you learned the difference between hunger and desperation, between solitude and abandonment, between discernment and suspicion. You learned those distinctions in a quiet school called waiting. You graduate now. The paper handed to you in the night was stamped with my seal. It read release. Release from the sentence you gave yourself for mistakes you already confessed. Release from the constant surveillance of self-judgment that robs you of boldness. Release from the fear that if you are seen as you truly are, you will be left behind. I am the one who sees, and I am not leaving. If I do not leave, who can remove you from the place I have set you? Listen to me carefully. There is someone who carries your name in a conversation you are not in yet. They are mentioning you with warmth. There is an email you will see that you might be tempted to ignore because you are tired of small hopes. Do not ignore it. There is a place you need to be at a time you will want to stay home. Go. There is a piece of evidence, small, almost unremarkable, that will confirm what your spirit already knows about who is for you and who is not. When you see it, do not argue with your peace. Your peace knows before your mind catches up. Your peace is my gift and my signature. Follow it. I saw you remember a wound last night and turn it in your hands as if it might bloom into meaning if you stared hard enough. You do not have to make your suffering useful. I already have. The tears you resented were counted. The nights you went silent were recorded, not to shame you but to form a map of where I have walked with you so you could find me when you felt lost. Every turn you thought was random, every detour that annoyed you, every delay that humiliated you, they formed a pattern of protection so you would not arrive in rooms that would have crushed you. Do you understand? I wasn't late. I was kind. I did not say no, I said not without you knowing your worth. Now you know better. Now you speak differently about yourself when no one is listening. Now you guard what you carry. That is why the 7 gathered last night. The hour of custody has become the hour of release. The one who meant to profit from your confusion has been exposed in a quiet way that does not require your revenge. You are being spared the exhaustion of proving what I have already judged. You will be tempted to announce, to call, to confront. Choose dignity. Let the fruit speak. Let time tell the story of integrity that cannot be counterfeited. I will bring you what is yours without spectacle. I will recover what you lost in a manner that protects your heart from gloating. You do not need the high of being right, you need the peace of being whole. I am making you whole. There is also an inheritance you did not realize was connected to you, no, not merely money, though provision follows purpose, but an inheritance of clarity. You will suddenly understand why a certain door remained closed and why another one is opening now. Clarity is part of your blessing. You asked me for resources. I am giving you wisdom so that resources do not ruin you. You asked me for a platform. I am giving you voice so that your words heal rather than perform. You asked me for companionship. I am giving you discernment so you choose covenant over chemistry. Accept this order and none of your gifts will turn against you. Refuse it and you will repeat lessons you no longer need. This is the last chance to refuse the old loop. Step out. I am also addressing the hidden sorrow you carry for someone who is gone. You wonder if they saw your heart at the end, if they knew you tried. They did. They were given permission to see what love cost you, and they blessed you as they crossed. You did not fail them. You could not have saved them from what I called them through, and you are not being punished by their absence. The ache that remains is not an indictment, it is a thread. Hold it lightly and it will lead you to compassion, to creative tenderness, to a softness that is not weakness. Hold it like a chain and it will bruise your wrist. I am loosening your grip. Last night, as you turned in your sleep, a hand you love brushed your shoulder and said, "Let it be, we are not far." You woke up and thought it was a draft. It wasn't. It was comfort. Regarding your daily bread, hear me, the pressure that makes you calculate every risk as loss is lifting. You will so often choose caution that you forget courage is also a kind of wisdom. Courage will not embarrass you. You will find that when you dare to start, help appears. Partners arrive because faith attracts its family. Do the small faithful things and I will turn them into great ones. Send the message. Fill the form. Learn the thing that intimidates you. Clean the corner of your life you've neglected because clutter makes hope feel heavy. Small obedience is the lever that moves the boulder. I am the strength behind the lever. You asked me what the whole truth is. The whole truth is not a rumor about what others plot. The whole truth is not the secret someone keeps about you. The whole truth is me. I am with you, I am for you, and I am ahead of you preparing good works for you to walk in. The rest of it, who said what, who stayed, who left, who returned, who apologized, is weather. Important sometimes, but not the climate. Your climate is grace. Your forecast is mercy. Your atmosphere is favor that looks like steady green lights and well-timed pauses. The 7 were shocked because they saw how close you are to believing this for real and how little it would take to make you shrink back. Do not shrink. Stretch. You do not have to shout to stretch. You only have to agree. Agreement looks like simple sentences spoken in your room before the day begins. I am not late. I will not beg for what is mine. I bless those who bless me and I release those who do not. I will not chase crumbs when I am invited to the table. I will tell the truth about what I feel so I can be healed, not dramatic so I can be noticed. I will ask for help without shame. I will let joy in without suspicion. I will complete what I start because I was made to finish. Say these quietly, they will echo loudly. Heaven is drawn to agreement the way seeds are drawn to soil that has finally been cleared of stones. Now I am turning your attention to timing. You love to rush when you are afraid and delay when you are ready. Switch them. Delay your panic, rush your obedience. When you feel the urge to run back to old patterns, breathe and wait 1 full minute with me. When you sense a nudge to act on what you already know is right, do it now without asking for 5 more confirmations. You are not a child groping in the dark, you are a beloved one walking with a lamp. The lamp is enough for the next step. That is all you need today. Take it, then the next will appear. This is how we walk together. Your relationships are entering a recalibration that will look like distance with some and depth with others. Do not mourn the pruning. Not everyone you love is meant to advise you, and not everyone who admires you is meant to walk closely. Seek people who challenge your excuses and honor your tenderness. Pay attention to how your body feels when you share your good news, tight or relaxed, guarded or open. Your body is not your enemy, it is a messenger. I live in the house of your being. I am familiar with every room. When your shoulders drop and your jaw unclenches, that is a green light. When your chest tightens and your words stumble, pause. Protect the holy until it grows strong enough to share. Concerning the person whose name keeps surfacing in your thoughts, either as hope or worry, place them in my hands without dramatics. If they are meant to walk with you, alignment will come without manipulation. If they are not, release will come without destruction. Your dignity will remain intact in either case. You are not a beggar at the gate of love. You are a giver with a full heart who has learned standards that honor the gift. Do not trade those standards for loneliness. The one I send can meet you there. There is also a creative idea you have postponed because you fear ridicule. Start it as if no one is watching. Keep it small and steady, and let joy be the engine, not validation. In time, results will arrive and you will have the delight of being surprised by your own faithfulness. I take pleasure in your making. I am the one who placed the arc of imagination in you. It is not childish to create. It is childlike to trust that your offering can be both imperfect and worthy. Offer it. You will hear a piece of bad news soon, the kind that stirs old fear. It will not undo what I established last night. Let it pass through you like wind through open windows. Respond with wisdom, not alarm. Seek counsel where needed, but do not hand over your peace to any headline, message, or rumor. Your peace is my gift and my jurisdiction. When you are tempted to spiral, return to our simple sentences and breathe. Peace will hold. I am giving you a sign to mark this turning. Before the day ends, you will encounter a phrase or symbol repeated 3 times in unlikely places. Do not worship the sign, simply let it confirm your next small act of courage. Put your name on the thing that is yours. Forgive the thing that keeps asking for rent in your mind but has no right to stay. Send the message. Show up. Choose rest before exhaustion forces you to stop. Drink water. Step into sunlight. These are not trivial commands, they are how heaven touches earth through your body. Care for the vessel that carries the promise. Hear me on this too, you are safe to be happy. You have treated joy like a guest who might steal from you if allowed to linger. Invite it in and watch how lovingly it tidies the room of your heart. Joy will not make you careless, it will make you generous. Joy will not blind you to reality, it will brighten the edges so you can see paths that anxiety hides. Joy is not denial. Joy is agreement with me. Last night, when the 7 stood and waited for your yes, they also recorded what would be given at your yes: clarity, courage, companionship, creative flow, provision, favor with the right people, and a long, steady peace that will not vanish when circumstances shift. All of these are assigned to you in the measure you can carry now, and in greater measure as you practice the art of receiving. This is your lesson today: receive without arguing. When kindness comes, do not turn it into a test. When opportunity comes, do not call it a trap. When apology comes, do not turn away in pride. When correction comes, do not interpret it as rejection. Receive and grow. I am not threatening you when I say this is your last chance. I am inviting you to close the door on an old chapter that no longer fits your soul. The old fears have already moved out. Do not keep renting them space with your attention. The old narratives have already lost their lease. Do not renew them with your words. You are allowed to be new. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to walk away from what drains you and toward what nourishes you. You are allowed to hope without apology. You are allowed to be loved without performing. You are allowed to be helped without debt. You are allowed to be seen without fear. These permissions are not indulgences, they are my will. So rise now in quiet agreement. Put your hand over your heart and say, I will not skip the life set before me. Say, I am led, I am held, I am ready. Say, what happened last night is my new morning. And then act like it, choose one faithful step and take it. The 7 have moved from shock to song. They are singing because you are finally hearing. Walk while the song is fresh. Walk while the lamp is bright. Walk while the door is open. I will go with you all the way, listen, beloved. I am speaking now because the hour has arrived and the door that was open all night is closing with the first light of this morning. I watched you search your room with your hands, your pockets with your breath, your memory with your heart, and still you did not know what happened while you slept and while you stared at the ceiling promising yourself you would try again tomorrow. I am the one who sees in the dark and the daylight at once, and I tell you plainly, last night the hidden story reached its turning point. 7 of my messengers stood around your life like a circle of watchfires. They looked upon what unfolded and were astonished that you still woke without knowing. This is why I am speaking with such urgency. This is why I am pressing these words into your spirit like a seal upon warm wax. You are not late, but you are at the last step before the threshold. Hurry, and hear me. You felt something flicker in your chest and you called it worry. You thought it was another night of unanswered why. But that flicker was the tremor of a chain snapping off your name. Last night, what was arranged against you lost its cornerstone. A plan formed in whispers fell apart when truth entered the room uninvited. I sent a wind through a conversation that did not include you. I bent the path of a message that was meant to wound you and turned it into a confession that could no longer hide. I watched a door that had been locked for months swing inward by a hand that could not resist my timing. They said, "Not tonight," and I said, "Tonight," and because I am the one who sets the boundaries of night and day, last night became the night of changing verdicts. You didn't know because you have learned to expect nothing sudden. You have endured so many almosts that your heart now rehearses disappointment before the first hello. But I am interrupting that rehearsal. I am tearing the script of loss and handing you the living page. Last night, an unseen ledger turned from red to white. The figure that always left you one short was replaced by provision with no subtraction. Grace walked into a room where your name had been spoken like a problem and sat in the empty chair as your advocate. 7 archangels, Michael standing first, then Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Selaphiel, Jagutiel, Barachiel, stood perimeter while the scales tipped. They saw the moment and were shocked at how quietly hearts can change when I breathe once and do not raise my voice. You didn't know because the evidence is still walking toward you from a distance, and footsteps sound small across the fields of morning. But look again. There is a softness in today that was not in yesterday. There is a looseness around your shoulders where the tightness used to bite. That is because the yoke began breaking in the hour you were too tired to lift your head. You mistook that mercy for ordinary sleep. I am telling you what it was. It was the moment a long war lost interest in you because the general who led it laid down his flag. You think I am speaking in riddles, but I am drawing you close to the edge of the cliff where you can finally see the river below, the river that carried away the stones tied to your name. Do not argue with me about what you deserve. I have already resolved that before you asked. You will ask me, why now? And I will answer you with this, because patience reached its fullness, because humility grew where pride would have grown in someone else, because you did not return evil with evil, because you cried but you did not curse me, because even when you considered giving up, you kept a lamp burning in the window of your soul. I do not forget lamps. I do not overlook the small obedience that costs you 1,000 loud victories. The world counts trophies. I count the moments you said yes in the quiet and no in the secret. Last night I settled accounts in your favor not as a reward you can boast about, but as a harvest that matches seeds you planted when nobody clapped. Hear me now, there is information coming toward you. It will not be delivered with a trumpet, it will arrive like an ordinary call, a text, a sentence slipped into a conversation, a paper you almost ignore, a memory that suddenly aligns with a new fact. Do not shrug it off. Do not say, maybe later. This is your last chance to miss it and I will not let you. I am pressing your attention into sharpness. I am placing in you a gentle boldness to ask one more question, to open one more drawer, to read the line you always skim, to pick up the name you have avoided, to call the number you keep saving for tomorrow. Do not fear what will be revealed. Truth will not ruin you, truth will ruin what is ruining you. I do not unmask to embarrass you, I unmask to free you from agreements you never knew you made. You want me to tell you who and where and how many. You want a map that leaves nothing to faith. But listen, beloved, faith is the door you walk through to enter the room where the answers are. You say, if I had the answers I would have faith, and I say, if you take my hand, the answers will meet you in the hallway. There is danger in over-explaining what I have already secured. Your enemy thrives on borrowed attention. I will not rent him yours. What you need to know is this: what was hidden is coming into light, and the light is not a courtroom that condemns you, it is a morning that invites you. I am asking you to choose the light, to let it land on your face, to stop rehearsing the dark outcome as if you owe it an encore. Last night, someone who has misused your trust felt the heat of a mirror they could not put down. They saw themselves clearly, and though shame reached for them first, conviction reached deeper. Do not be surprised when they act strangely around you, warmer than before, then distant, then warm again. That is the wobble of a heart learning to walk upright. Do not mistake their discomfort for accusation against you. It is a sorrow breaking open toward honesty. You are not the judge in this story. You are the witness of a rescue you prayed for without knowing how to ask. Your part is to stay steady, to say less than you could, to ask me when to speak and when to stay silent. I will cue you. I will gently tug your sleeve when one word of grace will open a locked chest faster than 1,000 lessons. You say you still feel small. I know. The corridor you are in is narrow because it is leading to a door that opens wide. Narrow is not punishment, narrow is focus. I am shepherding you past the hands that always reach from the walls, fear, habit, urgency that is not mine, the old voice that says you need to hustle to be loved. Let them speak, but do not take their hands. My 7 sentinels did not keep watch last night so you could walk back into the same room with the same chains. They were astonished that you woke without knowing, but they are not disappointed in you, they are eager for you to know now. They are lighting the edges of your path so gently that your eyes can adjust without tearing. Even now you remember a moment from last night that felt like nothing, the slight chill, the sudden quiet, the way a worry sentence broke in the middle. That was the hinge,